I love riding motorcycles off-road, but like all my motorcycling journeys, I did my dirt riding backwards. I went from road motorcycles to a Moto Guzzi Stelvio 1200 NTX, which weighed over 600 pounds and was damn near unrideable off-road. Then I swapped that out for the 450-pound Yamaha Tenere 700, which was a huge improvement over the Guzzi on dirt. Then my wife Brooke got the 339-pound Honda CRF300L Rally, which I rode off-road when I wanted something much lighter than my Tenere. And finally, this summer, I picked up a 258-pound used Yamaha WR250F, a pure dirt enduro, not to be confused with the road-legal WR250R, which has less power and suspension travel. I've been wanting a dedicated dirt bike for some time now, and by dirt bike, I mean something very specific. Dirt bikes are broken up into many subcategories of motorcycle, with your soft and air-cooled trail bikes like the Honda CRF250F and Yamaha TTR230 on one side, and your rip-snorting 450cc enduro racers on the other. I wanted something in between, a bike more capable than the simple air-cooled trail bikes, but not in the rip-your-arms-off 450cc 4-stroke or 300cc 2-stroke class. A bike with awesome suspension and just enough power to have fun without wrapping yourself around a tree. I went 250cc 4-stroke and Yamaha. I'll tell you why in this video and give you my initial thoughts about this new to me Yamaha WR250F. What's good about it, what needs improving, and why and where this motorcycle is far superior to most dual sports and trail bikes. Stay tuned, and if you enjoy this content, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons and sharing this video with friends. Now, there are many good dual sports out there, like the Suzuki DRZ400, Kawasaki KLX300, Honda CRF300L, and a bunch of very high-priced KTMs, Husqvarnas, Betas, gases, etc., etc. But the Japanese bikes tend to weigh over 300 pounds, be a bit short on power, and have suspensions which range from okay to good but not great, and the Euro bikes are expensive and finicky. Plus, they have reliability issues more often than Japanese bikes. On average. I know I'm going to take flack in the comments about that statement, but I stand by it. Now, I'm no Enduro world champion. I have extensive mountain biking experience, and I'm relatively new to dirt biking. The mountain biking helps, but dirt bikes are way heavier on the one hand and have way better suspension on the other. So, since we were selling Brooke's CRF300L Rally, we, and more specifically Brooke being pregnant and all, and since we have a little summer cottage in central Ontario, as close to an off-road mecca as exists around here, I decided I'd pick up a new enduro bike. A new Japanese enduro bike. I checked out the new Yamaha WR250F at the bike show and liked it a lot. Then I checked out the price tag, 10,800 Canadian, before dealer fees and taxes, and decided that I needed a used Japanese enduro bike. Found a lightly used 2018 with just a bit over 700 kilometers on it for about half the price of a new one, and I was ready to tackle the trails that were too much for the CRF. And there are a lot of them where I ride. Finally, I would be able to hit some of the rides I'd been hearing about from my dirt riding friends and keep up. So why the WR, I hear the peanut gallery asking? Well, I wanted an enduro bike that fit my needs. It didn't have to be a hard enduro machine like a Beta 300RR 2-stroke, but rather a jack-of-all-trades dirt bike that could pretty much tackle everything and also not buck me off if I did something dumb. I wanted something that could handle a motocross track because I might take some MX lessons to improve my riding. I wanted it to be good on wide open trails because I do plan on taking it into the desert in places like Moab, Utah. And I wanted it to be capable of handling everything from gnarly ATV trails to smooth and flowy single track to the seriously rough single track I ride near my cottage. Why not a 2-stroke? Several reasons actually. First, I'm not messing with mixing fuel. I know not all 2-strokes require this, but they do involve some extra steps I just don't want to deal with. Second, I wanted a 4-stroke because they are easier to ride in most situations. The power is less peaky, and while 2-strokes are more powerful and better on extreme terrain, 4-strokes are arguably better all-rounders. Third, and this is not arguable, 4-stroke motors are more efficient, which means that while my 2-stroke buddies have to carry rotopacks on them, I just fill up my 7.5-liter tank, which takes me over 120 kilometers. And finally, also inarguable, 4-stroke motors last longer. I'm notoriously stingy and I don't want to replace my dirt bike anytime soon. I'm not trying to win Romaniacs here, just wanting to explore some trails and have some fun without breaking the bank. Why not an electric? After all, I did review a Sur-Ron Ultra B earlier this year and wanted to buy one. Well, the truth is, those cost 8,000 Canadian dollars, and I was also going to put a 21 and 18-inch wheel set on it, which would bring the price to 10 Gs. And some of the rides I do at the cottage can cover over 100 kilometers, and the Ultra B, as light and easy to ride as it is, can realistically do about 70 kilometers of trail before needing a charge. And an extra battery costs thousands of dollars. So I gave in to my stingy, some might say cheap nature, and went with a used bike. So what does a regular guy like me think of riding a proper enduro bike as opposed to a dual sport? Wow, what a difference. This thing is serious, starting with the engine. No, it's not a powerhouse 450 or 300 two-banger. It's actually rather soft off the bottom, which is good for riding the tighter technical trails I like to tackle. On very hard terrain, it does tend to stall more than a 300 two-stroke, but once you learn to keep the motor spinning in those sections and slip the clutch, it does fine. Actually, it requires you to be a better rider, not to stall it. Four-strokes do tend to overheat more when you're really slogging it, but the WR is equipped with a radiator fan, and I tend to prefer flowier trails anyways. Once you get to the mid-range and the higher revs, this engine hits hard. Yamaha doesn't give exact horsepower figures. I've heard 40 when you uncork the airbox and exhaust. I haven't done that because I don't need that much power and I'm worried about sparks from the pipe. Regardless, the power is plenty for the kind of riding I do. The 2018 model comes with 2 maps and more you can download from the web, but requires a pricey controller you actually have to plug into the bike to change them. On 2019 and later models, you can do this on your phone over Bluetooth, but the standard map works fine and I haven't found a need to switch it. The bike also has 6 gears which are low and pretty close together, although I do wish that second and third were a bit closer for the kind of riding I do. On some group rides, I found second was a bit short and third a bit too tall on steep climbs at the pace I do with my friends. This is where electric twist-and-go bikes have an edge. Perhaps the biggest strength of the WR250F is the high-quality KYB suspension, pretty much on par or better than anything else out there. The original owner was about my weight, so it's actually already dialed in correctly. Fork travel is 12.2 inches, the shock has 12.5 inches of travel, and the ground clearance is an impressive 12.8 inches, enough to clear this tree. By the way, on a previous group ride with me on the Ultra B, the same tree from the other side gave us some trouble. The huge travel and clearance also probably account for the impressive seat height, 38 inches. The new one, by the way, is a bit lower at 37.6. I'm 6 feet tall and my 180 pounds does cause some suspension squat, so the seat height works for me. So what exactly is the difference between this and one of the softer dual sports like a Kawasaki KLX300 or even a softer trail bike like the Honda CRF250F? It's night and day. The suspension on the Yamaha is so much better, the bike is so much more composed at speed over gnarly terrain, and the power is so much snappier that you can carry more speed everywhere. Now that power comes at the expense of dirt bike maintenance intervals where you're changing air filters, oil and oil filters often. I know some guys stretch these out, but I want this bike to last, so I'll stick with the schedule. The softer bikes I mentioned come with much longer intervals. So on the WR250F, I just plow through everything. At first I was shocked at what this bike could clear. Now I take for granted that I can go places lesser bikes dare not tread. One cool aspect of the WR is the location of the fuel tank under the seat. This allows for a lower center of gravity and for the airbox to sit where the tank would otherwise be, nice and high for those water crossings without any chance of drowning the engine. The drawback of this setup is that the induction noise is extremely loud when climbing or accelerating, annoyingly so. I don't want to put in earplugs while dirt biking, but man. Other than that, and the engine being a bit weak down low, I have to say I'm very happy with this bike. It may not be the perfect hard enduro weapon, but for the kind of riding I do, it's perfect. It's already taken me places I would not have been able to access on a dual sport or lesser trail bike. Honestly, the only reason you should consider a CRF250F over a WR250F is if you can't reach the ground on the WR. They both weigh the same, but the difference between their handling and power is night and day. Maybe I'll do a proper comparison, as I've spent a full day on the Honda before. As for the WR, the ultimate plan is to run this bike in Moab, Utah, but with all that's going on right now, it'll be a little while before I get out there. So I finally found my unicorn. It's the Yamaha 10WR950F. Yep, if you can't find a unicorn, just get two bikes that can do it all between them. It really is true. When you get out on the trails with no cars, no people, just you, your machine, the trees, hills, and lakes, you begin to wonder, why do I even bother with pavement? Not selling my Tenere anytime soon, just saying. So do you have the itch to go ride someplace where you don't see another human being all day? What bike would you do it on? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Get the shiny side muddy, and may the spokes be with you.